No. It's really weird. I think the aperture, there's something going on with that, with this, because I started recording, it was really, really washed out on YouTube. I think it has something to do with the fact that the lamp is behind me, so maybe if I move this way a little. My camera is here and the computer is there. So, today, let's check what time it is, because this doesn't tell me how long I'm recording. So, wow. It was a really interesting day, because I've been out here for 8 months now, and I haven't gone to get a new doctor yet. And part of that is just putting my head in the sand, and part of that is, you know, it's kind of scary when you're trying to find a new doctor, especially when you have a disease that's so misunderstood still by many medical professionals. And I didn't get a recommendation before I left Illinois, and I'm out here. And so what happens is that with the doctors, they get audited when they are prescribing certain substances, and because I haven't seen my doctor in Illinois in 9 months, because I went a month before I left, they can't really write any refills for me anymore. So this morning I didn't have one of my medications, my main fibromyalgia medication. And so I was like calling his office and just begging and like, give me a week's worth or something. So I did all that, and I took something else that helped. And then my mom was going to her neurologist for an appointment, because my mom has chronic migraines, and they found a neurologist, and she said, oh, he's really nice. And the thing is I never thought about seeing a neurologist for fibromyalgia. I mean, you see a rheumatologist because it deals with pain and joints, and there's a lot of related issues. But on the other side, I can see how a neurologist would treat it, because it has to do with brain chemistry and what's going on up there and all kinds of stuff. So I ended up going to the neurologist and speaking to the PA there and making an appointment to see that doctor. So it'll be really interesting, and I'm kind of trepidatious about the whole thing. But at least I have pain pills now, and I have my main medication, and I have a refill of my other stuff, so I'm fine. And I put up the link to my digital goods shop on my blog, and some of you have come and bought collage sheets, and thank you. I hope you enjoy them. And I've sold a painting, which is fantastic. And last night I went through and I answered every single, unless I talk to you on Instant Messenger or Skype on a regular basis, I've answered every single comment on YouTube. There were 94 comments I had to go back and answer. So tonight, after I finish this, I'm going to go through and answer every single blog comment. I just take my netbook and we go and I sit and watch TV and I type responses. And I'm working my way through a lot of contact through my blog and a lot of notes that people have written me independently. I'm working through those too. Okay, what's really cool is I can record this, and it's recording so I can see what it's going to be like, and I don't have to do this in editing. So, what I need is, I need my bottle of PVA, I need an X-Acto knife, and I need my text block. Pretty simple. And you can do this with any journal you own or that you buy if you really just like the cover. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be cutting this text block out of the journal. And I'm just going to show you kind of my point of view. I'm going to be cutting in here, and sorry, I have to put it down because it's easier to do this way. So you want to make sure you're cutting just the paper and not the book cloth. Like down here, you can see the overlap is different because remember this cover is kind of weird. So I have to be careful that I'm cutting just the text block and not the book cloth. What the hell? And after you get it going, you can kind of do this and kind of so you can see there that now this is the cover, and you can see the text block here. So you just do that on the front and the back. Like so. So there's the text block, and this is the cover. And I'm going to leave these pages in here because this is going to help me figure out where to position the front and the back. So next, when you're creating your replacement, you want to make sure it's the same thickness as the original. So let's show you that it's pretty much the same, which will work great. So you can experiment by putting this in your cover and kind of closing it and kind of working it around until this edge is straight, and I kind of go like this to do that. Then I check the top and the bottom to make sure those things are lining up. So they pretty much are, which means I can just paste this over what's left in the journal. So for this part, you're going to need a bone folder or the handle of your scissors, but the bone folder works the best. This is my bone folder, and it's kind of cool. It's also covered in glue, just covered in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my PVA down like this. And you don't want to put too much down because it dries really fast. So you want to work fast with it. And I just have a disposable thingy-mabobber here. So I'm doing that. Don't get any glue in here. You don't want that glued. You don't want any glue in the middle. Then you open it up, and looks like I cut the new paper a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to use what was there before as a guide for where this goes. So then I'm just going to check it though. And a good way to check is it's glued in there, and then I'm going to close the front cover like so, line up these things and see that this lines up. So that's a good spot for it. So then you just kind of want to burnish it. And then add some more PVA. Also with this PVA, with this tip, it's like so much easier. I mean, I used to have to put so much hot water on my I don't know, like container of PVA that I had from Paper Source, that it just wouldn't open. I also, when I was doing that, I would mix my PVA with methyl cellulose. Which you can find, I know by me, Utract Jerry's carries it, and some independent stores, art stores might carry it in the bookbinding section, and it comes as a powder, and you can add that. You can, it'll probably have instructions on it how to mix that in order to get it. It kind of makes the PVA not longer, but like stay wet longer, and that's great for when you're starting out and you can't work really fast, because you're not as sure with your placement as you will be once you start doing this for a while. So I'm just getting that down. Sometimes it's not gonna stick. I'm gonna have to kind of force it. This is much thicker paper than what I had in here before. This is my favorite kind of paper, and like I said last night, Jerry's has been out of it for months, and they just got a huge shipment of it, and I was like gaga. And so I have 3 journals in my queue right now to be created for people, and I'm totally quoting prices using this paper because it is like my favorite from Mixed Media. It's so amazingly fantastic. You don't have to gesso if you don't. You can, but I don't like gessoing, and so I just love this paper to death. So I like to get pretty much everything down like so. So that's the back, and then what you want to do, and this is going to get covered up, which I realize that my phone number's on here, and I had it open. So I'll have to fix that in post. So what I'm going to do is, when you do this, you want to pull it up and over, like so. Then you want to line up the front cover and the back cover. And then, as again, check. And of course it's going to be a little wonky because, again, my cover isn't straight. So it always helps to have it to lean against something. Like I have it against the books that are holding the camera. And then I'm just going to pull it up and add a ton more glue. And then I'm not even gonna use the brush, I'm just gonna, come on book, cooperate. Use my hands at first, and then go back over it like this. The place I find it doesn't like to stick sometimes is right next to the spine, so I like to burnishing that, and then again, I'm going to go around the edges. And do this. Sometimes I find it easier to just use my hands. In fact, most of the time, I find it easier to use my hands. So that is glued in, and now I can shut it and see. So that is, now the paper is replaced, and if you want to make any adjustments with how it sits, you've got to do it now. And then I always put it underneath some really heavy books for about an hour or two, just to make sure the glue is completely dry. And then you are ready to use your journal that you have replaced the paper in. So don't think that you're ever stuck with whatever journal that you have. And then I'll keep the text block and I can use this. I can cut this out and glue it in, or I can cut pages out of it, or I can use it sometime else. But there you go.